Well, hello, beautiful people, and welcome to the Gifted Table. We are at the end of May 2023. Can you believe that? It's the end of May 2023. It's been an interesting month. And this month, we have been focusing on empowering others. Empowering others is so important. You know, this show would not be complete, especially going live, without my main dude, my coach, Mr. Chris Hamilton. Welcome him to the table. He's about to take his seat. What's
Hey,
happening, Chris?
what's going on, Melanie? How you doing?
You know, today's a good day. Today is a good day, and I appreciate you taking time out on Memorial Day. We know this is a holiday honoring all of the veterans who, gave their life during wartime. Um, for our country and for us here. And so, people are doing many things to recognize and to remember those soldiers, men and women across our different branches. And today I just kind of want to memorialize today with empowerment because that's what that was about. So, what's going on with you, sir?
Yeah, everything is going really well. Remembering my uncle and my grandfather, they served in the military, they served in the army, and I
Mhm.
got a cousin that's also serving in the army right now. So definitely, remembering, those, and thank you everyone that are, in the military. Thank you for your service.
Yes.
And those that have passed, we thank you for your bravery. And but other than that, to Memorial Day for me, outside of remembering them, is about barbecue.
Stop
I,
it.
I don't know if I don't know if anybody else can relate to that, but I got a plate in the refrigerator right now that I'm finna go devour as soon
You
as this live
know,
stream is over.
and this is why I say thank you. Thank you for joining me. Oh, listen, faithful Jonathan Davis, my cousin. Hey, we see you. We see you. Welcome to the table. Thank you for pulling up your seat, cousin. Anyone else who's out there, if you haven't logged in, if you have not subscribed to the Gifted Table, please be sure to go to YouTube, subscribe to the Gifted Table. We would love for you to get our alerts, our notifications of our shows out. But more importantly, this is to build this great community of leadership, but all are welcome. Don't forget, we do have the leading man episodes, and I'm still waiting on Mr. Chris right here to set his date where I can spotlight him as a leading man. I'm just planting that seed once again, but we're gonna let it keep moving.
I love it. I love it. Anytime. I love it. I am definitely
Fix your
ready
face,
and
sir.
willing.
Fix your face.
I'm ready and willing to jump on to the gifted table to pull up my seat. I don't know if I feel like I'm that gifted, but I definitely feel blessed, by knowing you, and definitely feel empowered by you, by all of the conversations we've had and the
Yes,
different guests. Being able to edit, like, I edit all of your videos for those that don't know,
that's
and
right.
I get to see the before, before you guys see it on her channel. I see everything. So I'm like the first viewer. I'm like watching and I'm hearing all this good information from money makers talking about how they started their entrepreneurship, how
Yes,
they began their businesses, all the way to emotional intelligence with the EI guy. I mean, it's just so much wealth of knowledge that
yes.
you are bringing. I'm definitely empowered by you. So if I
Thank
can
you.
drop a nugget, if I have any kind of gift that I could drop,
What?
I would be pleased to join and pull my table up to the gifted table.
You better pull it up nice and tight and close. So okay, we're gonna talk about that, you know, to the left on offset, offset.
Cool.
But we are talking about empowerment. And for those of you who did see our episode not too long ago, I put out a challenge of how to empower others simply using the word empower. And I gave you a challenge to do a calendar for this month, for next month. Jump on it. Go back to the web, to our YouTube. It's posted there. And I actually have a handout, a downloadable for you to use using the word empower to help someone else out and to monitor how well, how often your accountability for sharing your gifts with others and making sure you're pulling those gifts out. I don't know, Chris, do you happen to have that
I was
graphic so we can remind the
you know I
people?
do. You
Uh,
know I do.
Pull
Hold
it
on.
on
I
up,
was just
sir.
about to say, keep on talking because I'm finna
Keep
pull it
on
up.
talking.
Watch
But
this.
this is
Three,
what we
two,
do. And
one,
it's all about
done.
empower. Yes, there we go. There we go.
Done.
And so call it done. So this was the challenge, ladies and gentlemen. This was the challenge. If not empowerment of someone else, how about empowerment for yourself? So check it out. The E was for what? Was that educate?
Educate.
For
Educate.
educate. So think of just during that week. So consider that your Monday. Each letter in empowerment was a day of the week. I just took the days of the week off. So on Monday, that's the educate day. What you gonna do? The M was for mentor. Think about someone who you're mentoring, who you would like to mentor, and put some things on this calendar, some tasks that you would like to do, or some tasks that you would like for them to do. Then we have the P. What was that P? Progress. Monitor the progress of what the goals were, what the tasks were. Do we need to redo the progress monitoring? Do we need to set a more attainable goal? But check it out. The R in empower is MIR. Can I not spell right now? So this is what happens when you go, of course,
We on O,
it's an
Melanie.
O
We are all organized.
or
We're on
organized. Like I'm trying to
organizing.
squint and
We're
see.
organizing.
Listen, I
Um,
got to be honest. I couldn't see it. I just couldn't see it, y'all. And I'm not really paying attention to the word, but I couldn't see it. And I was trying to squint. But organize. This is why I need Chris for him to zoom in for me. Organizing their space, organizing their calendars, organizing their time. I mean, just what type of organization do they need?
and
What type of chaos? Go ahead, Chris.
Speaking of that, I mean, you would be surprised how beneficial that could be to have somebody come in and say, okay, listen, the way that you got this structured, let's just fix this. Okay. Even if it's spring cleaning, like, look, how can you get into your office and do work? Look at the way your desk is. Let's fix this.
Mhm.
Or even like in terms of like what they do, time management. I remember you
Right,
were saying that in the video, like
right.
all of those things. It's crazy how empowering that can be to have somebody help you just organize your
Hmm.
steps, right?
Yes.
Just put things in order and
In
have things,
order.
okay, this is what you should do first, second, and third, and give them a plan. It's so
Hmm.
amazing when you give somebody a plan. I was on a live stream recently on
Uh-huh.
Instagram. Um, and with the guy, when I was speaking with him, we were talking about business and everything like that. And he was giving me all of these just great information, just really good stuff that I need. And I just
Hmm.
said, man, this is what I have been missing in terms of my business, in terms of
See?
whatever. It's just what you're missing. You just need somebody else looking from the outside
Right.
in to say, everything is okay, Chris.
Hmm.
You got it. You just need to put some stuff in order.
Right.
So I
This is how
think
I can
organizing
empower
is
you a
key.
little bit more. And
Yeah.
so, and look how great it would be if you were using this actual document to help organize even yourself, right? Look at that. It's doable. And then we went to workshop. Now, workshop in Empower was asking people as leaders, is there something that you can do to workshop with them? It doesn't have to be like going to an outside of job workshop, but think about a skill set that maybe you can do a mini workshop with someone. Maybe record something on a video and say, hey, watch this video. I made this quick little video on how to do XYZ, how to do ABC. I think it might work really good with your skill set. It might give you just a little something extra to consider to put in your tool belt. So just workshopping with people or asking someone, what is something that you're working on that you want a little bit more help with, or you want to get a little bit better at, or something that you kind of see as an area of growth? Create a workshop for them. Have you ever been in that situation? Ever had to have it done for you, or have you done it for someone? I know I've had it done for me several times.
Workshopping is really fun because you get to like sit down, and so I recently spoke with somebody on social media, so we got a
Mhm,
chance to sit down and actually go through the steps to like post, to do videos, to do reels. And so in the well, it wasn't it was a Zoom call. It was
mhm,
like a one-on-one coaching that I did. And when I did the coaching, I was able to show them on the phone, like, hey, this is what you do. Okay, now let's practice it, upload a photo, upload this. So it's like when you get into that mode of like workshop where it's like we're gonna work it, we're gonna actually do it. I do it with music production too. So I like
mm,
show people how to play piano, how to make chords, stuff like that. So workshopping is really fun because they get to ask questions too. It's like, well, am I doing it right? Am I figuring this out right? And you really empower people because the favorite thing that I love to hear is, oh, I didn't know that. Or, oh, wow, I didn't know you could do that. or oh, what? Oh, okay. So that's how you do that. Okay. It's like they're right there, right? Like this mind blown. It's like they were right there where they knew kind of the steps, but then being able to workshop it with them, it's like, okay, now they got it and they got it forever.
Yes. And I have to say, everyone here at the Gifted Table, I'm not only his club president, I'm also a client, and he has workshopped with me several times. Let's just keep it real. I mean, workshopping with him, he has literally shown me what I didn't even know about just our YouTube channel, how to read my analytics, making sure that I'm creating a thumbnail that has a catchy title, making sure I'm very careful about my colors that I'm using, and make sure that the font is eye-catching. So even those workshops this gentleman has done for me. So when he's talking about workshopping and his talents, though he's trying to say he doesn't have any gifts, I know you probably heard him say that earlier. If you didn't, go back and watch the video after we posted. Such a talented man, and yet so creative and so humble, and yes, always a teacher. So you need to
Oh
cut it
man, I
out, sir.
appreciate you. I love how these live streams turn into advertisement for me. So I mean, it's all good with me. What's that next letter right here? What that say?
Engage. Engaging with others. How do we empower people to engage? You know what I think about? I think about folks who I've worked with in the past and in the
Hmm.
present who consider themselves introverts, right? And so they don't always engage directly with the teams or in tasks, but they're probably super talented, or they may be asked the best questions or have some of the best results that you can want if you're working on something, but they don't always engage. So when you're able to workshop with someone on
Hmm.
how to engage in their organization with their team, oh my goodness, it's all the better, especially if they're trying to engage for a move up to level themselves up than where they are right now. Engaging with different people, engaging with people in different departments, just putting themselves out there and taking that chance.
Yeah, it's like giving them a kick, to get in gear,
Hmm.
right? It's like, okay, you know the steps now. We done went through, I done showed you some things, taught you some things, I've been mentoring, we've been checking our progress. Okay,
Checking it
listen,
out.
I need you to engage. I need you to do something different. Let's sneak peek the next video if you don't mind, because
What?
something that was said. I don't know. Is
Not
that
a
okay?
trailer.
Just a little bit. Not a video. I just wanted, because I'm watching the video and it's
Yeah.
like you have to take accountability. You have to acknowledge
Yes.
it was recognize, review, no, recognize, release,
Release
and replace.
and replace.
Oh
Let's go
man.
for it.
Oh, this video is, I'm telling you, the next video that come up on this channel, you need it, your friend need it, your mama need it, your sister need it, okay? Because we've been holding on to things for so
Yes.
long and we just don't take that first step to get better with our mental health. And that's
Yes.
really important.
With an amazing guest, Vanessa Hunter. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
I can't wait. We're going to have two parts of that, sir. It's going to be a part
Yeah,
one and a
yeah,
part
yeah.
two.
I mean, because listen,
A part
it was a
deux.
really good video.
Yes.
And I just said, I really want to give them, I want to give your audience a chance to really take everything in. So
Mm-hmm.
with those three R's,
Yes.
recognize, release, and replace. Just with
Yes.
those three R's, that's enough. They can chew on that
Right.
for weeks and weeks to come. So I was like, well, let's do that part, and
Yeah.
then let's have another part for the remainder, because then we get a little closer, get a little
Right.
bit more involved with Vanessa specifically,
Yes.
with her personally. So I was like, well, these are kind of two videos, but awesome
Absolutely.
video again. And engaging is what I was talking. You have to engage. You just got to get in gear and start the
Mm-hmm.
process. Because once you
Mm-hmm.
start recognizing the issues and you recognize that there's a problem, then you've
Yeah.
already begun the work. You've
Yeah.
already begun.
And of course, I'm going to create a nice task for the people to do. We're going to have a handout. We're going to have something available for you for you to remember those 3 R's that Chris is talking about. That's going to connect to our next episode. It's going to be amazing. So make sure you've subscribed to the channel so you can get the notifications when the episode we're going to post. All right. And then the last and empower that we have is revise. So kind of like what you were just saying right now, Chris, you put the task at hand, you workshop it, you get engaged, but then we got to, what do we need to tweak? What do
Mhm.
we need to revise about our plan? Or maybe as a leader, as the person who's doing the work with the person, what do I need to revise about how I'm presenting it? So maybe the next person I talk to, or as we continue on this journey, this other person and I, how can I revise and tweak what I'm doing to empower them even more?
Absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. And I wanted to ask you a question. This is all about empowering others, and we want
Yes,
to stay on that. We want to empower others.
yes.
But do you think that this calendar could be something that someone could use for themselves as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. How do you think it even came to mind, sir? I
Got you.
had to
I got
start,
you. I
I
Jedi
had to
mind
start
tricked
with
you. That's
me.
all.
I had to start with me. And as you can see on the side, you have goals you can set. And again, this is just for a month. We're just asking you to do this for a month. And the lines are blank purposely in each square so you can put the number for how the calendar, the day of the months are for that particular month. Set your goal. What follow up do you need for the next one? And then what are some notes? What are some things that you learned from this? And again, the month is blank. You fill in the month. You may want to do this in June. Do this in June. We got 30 days in June. Number it out and write in each square what is it that you want to do to start with educating, right? Mentoring, looking at progress, organizing, workshopping, engaging, and then revising.
Right, right.
Do it for yourself, do it for others. And if you find yourself doing this for yourself, then who is your mentor? What do you want them to help and support you with? And are you really doing the work? Absolutely. Great question, sir.
Exactly, exactly. So I think that's awesome. The monthly empowerment challenge is still going. Right there in the chat, if you haven't noticed already, there is the
Yes.
link from the
Yep.
YouTube video, so you can grab that calendar right now. You don't have to screenshot it. I
Mhm.
know somebody was over there with their phone trying to screenshot the screen. It's
We have
okay.
it. We have
You
it.
can download the full
Yes.
file, the PDF, and that way you can have it to print
It's
and to have on
downloadable.
your phone, everything like that. It's in our chat. Just go ahead and click the link and you can grab that.
Yes. And let us know if you're on here. We know that Jonathan is on here. If you're on here, give us a shout out. Send us something in the chat. Let us know you're here so we can give you a shout out. Always grateful for you being here. I did want to share with everyone and just in the spirit of empowering others. Just recently, I was so blessed to be part of a panel of 3. It was 3 women. We were invited to a one of the middle schools that I work with for a Black Girl Boss Day, which I thought was great, specifically focusing on the African American female students at the school. And I was able to share just a little bit about my journey in education. The other 2 ladies who were on there, one was a registered nurse, and the other one is way up there in probation for LA County, I believe. Okay, no, I'm sorry. No, she's in Alameda County. And so I hope to have both of those ladies on the Gifted Table as well. But it was just so great sharing my story about education and how you have to be, as you can see, flexible and enjoy the process because you never know what it would be. And I felt that that was important for me to share to empower those young ladies because, first of all, it's always great when we see people who look like us in positions that we want to attain. That's empowerment right there. But when you share with them that you struggled, there were some challenges, you pressed through, you probably had to travel down a different road than what you expected. It's not what your degree was in, and how that empowered you to be an even stronger individual. And so when I think about ways that we empower people, sometimes our stories alone are empowering for others. And we all have a story to tell. You just never know what that purpose may be. Because remember, here at the Gifted Table, we look at our professions, but we also focus on the purpose, our perseverance, and our passion, because all of those things are what help empower others. All right, we see. Thank you. We have Stephen Pettis. Thank you for joining us here. Oh my goodness, thank you for being here at the gifted table. We appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. So, Chris, when we're thinking about empowering others,
Hmm.
tell me something that you've done lately to empower someone else, not necessarily in the business, not necessarily what you're doing, but you saw a need and you knew what to say to empower that individual. You don't have to tell us who it was, but what was
Okay.
the circumstance?
Well, at my church, I do ministry there, and we are there to do our live stream for the worship service every Sunday. And we're kind of lacking brothers at our church to kind of help facilitate the worship
Mm-hmm.
service. And one of these brothers stepped up. One of the newer brothers stepped up to come in and perform the worship service. And so that was really great that he volunteered. And the moment that I felt to empower him was I kind of did some of the steps that you talked about in
Mm,
your monthly empowerment challenge. And
okay.
so I was like, I don't want to just put you up there. I don't want to just put you out there. I want to actually give you some tools and give you some tips because this is your first time.
Mm,
And I also just made sure that the way that I communicated was like, listen, I know that you got it. So I encouraged him. I motivated him. I know
okay.
that you got it. I know that you don't need me, but I still want to give you this information
Mm-hmm.
because it could help. So we did some workshopping. We did some dry runs, if you will. Like, okay, this is how we are going to read our scripture. This is how we're going to pray. Things like that. We practiced it.
Mm-hmm.
I gave him some different scriptures that he could read on Sunday. He
Mm-hmm.
gave me some scriptures that he was thinking about reading, and we just kind of workshopped it back and forth,
Mm-hmm.
so that he felt good. I gave him a timeline of how our worship usually flows. Okay, here's the invocation. And it's all of this extra stuff that it was like I didn't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily have to do, but it was like I really want to give you a leg up going into this, and I appreciated him so much. I was like, I just want you to be as successful with this as
Yeah.
possible. So I gave him a timeline, a PDF. I said, okay, here's your name. This is where you go. This is the next person, such 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 such. And it was great. Like I said, he has a lot of confidence. He's a great guy. I really appreciate him. I'm blessed to have him join our worship service. And I feel like that was a moment where I kind of helped to empower him to kind of get that through. Not like I'm taking any credit. Like I said, he can do it all, but being able to give him something and workshop him, I think that really helped him a lot.
What I hear that you've done, and you might want to write this down and maybe put it in the
Okay.
chat, or what I'm going to call the three T's.
Okay.
You gave him a task, you gave him tools, and then you gave him your time.
I like
How
it.
empowering is that?
I like it.
Task, tools, and time to help empower others.
You're really good at this. You, you got a gift. You got a gift for this. You did the recognize, replace. Okay, now we got tasks, tools, and time. Okay.
I like alliteration.
I like me too. And, as a man of the cloth, as they say,
Yeah.
we like a little. Preachers love alliteration.
But
One of
yes,
the
but you
preachers said, Joseph went from the pit to the
to the
prison to the palace. That's right. I think that was TD Jakes. From the pit to the prison to the
I
palace.
tell you. So we
Yeah,
got some tasks, some tools, and some time.
yeah.
How important is that to empower others? One thing I was thinking about knowing that we were getting prepared for this evening was sometimes when I feel that I have to empower someone,
Hmm.
when you've given so much, when you've given your time, when you've given them a task, when you've given them tools, sometimes you have to step back, right? And allow them to take ownership of what it is in order to empower them. And I guess that's the line we have to divide between empowering someone and enabling someone, right? Because if we continue to enable people, spoon feeding them, and as I was sharing with some of my
Mm,
staff the other day. I said, we've given some people so much information. We're giving them a spatula. It is beyond the spoon. It is a spatula full of information and tools for them
right.
to just feast on. And either they're not taking it, they're choking on it. I don't know what's happening with it, but it's not being digested the proper way. So
Yeah.
maybe we need to step back. And I just want to make sure that people know there is a fine line between enabling someone and empowering someone. Because if someone gets so used to us always being there, always checking in on them, right? And we find ourselves doing all the calling, doing all the emails, we're doing, of course, the accountability, but the reach out is going one way. We have to start stepping back and say, okay, you know what? Let me loosen these reins a little bit. Let me allow them to struggle a little bit
Hmm.
so that they can be empowered in a different way. Because I don't want to enable you if you don't see how you can be powerful in yourself.
Now that's some good stuff right there. So enabling versus empowering. I think
Mm.
that's a title right there for something, for somebody, a book, a YouTube video for Dr. Harris. That's for you. Okay. You take your pencil, you write that down. Okay. Because empowering versus enabling,
Mhm.
it makes so much sense as I'm
Yeah.
thinking about it, even in my own, like I said, different things that I'm doing, jobs, working with clients and stuff like that. A lot of times it's like, you know what, it's taking so long, let me just do it for you. It's
There,
like
right there. You get impatient.
I could I could I could I could show you how to do it, but I could just do it so fast. It's okay. Let me just do it. And that is important, because then you might not actually learn the thing that you're trying to show them because you're just doing it.
Yes.
Like hands-on is important, and actually, like you said, letting go of the reins. That is a really good analogy, because you got to let them take control at some point.
Yes.
How else will you're not really empowering them if you're
Yeah.
still holding all the power.
Yeah, and I think about the times when, even for myself, right? Even for
Mhm.
myself, when I was a new teacher, just getting into, the role of a teacher, it's not what I initially went to school for. I did not. I ended up getting my first master's in curriculum and education, but I did not get my undergrad. So I had to learn, and I remember just holding on like a child, holding on to the leg of their parent, to some of my teacher friends who was helping to guide me through just like lesson planning and assessment planning and all these things, because it was so unfamiliar to me. And they were giving me great tools, they were giving me their time, they were giving me tasks to do, but I was always like, is this good enough? Is this okay? What do you think about this? Like, just seeking that approval instead of
Mm,
trusting myself. It took me a while to trust myself that, okay, no, you can do this. You're going to do great with these students. You have a plan. You know what outcomes you want. It was about trusting myself. And so I had to realize when people stopped answering my calls
mm,
as frequently as they used to, or getting back to me as quickly, like, okay, maybe they're trying to give me a hint that you got this. They had to step away. And so, going through the process in my career, as I explained to the young ladies at that event, when I got into coaching and even as a principal, it was like, okay, yes, I'm here for you. I got you, but I'm going to give you 10 feet. Okay, now I'm going to give you 20 feet. Okay, now I'm on the other side of the wall, but you can
but
still
you
hear
know,
me and I can still hear you, right? Because I want to empower people. Okay, okay, I see what you're saying over there, Mr. Davis, Jonathan Davis. Say I'm walking heavy, not Pastor Mel.
and
He
she
called me
teaching though,
Pastor.
teaching,
He called
she
me Pastor
teaching.
Mel. Now, was funny. Was funny. Some of my friends, they used to call me First Lady. Don't even ask me why. I was never married to a pastor, but they say you got that First Lady vibe.
Right, right.
Yeah. So yes, take those tools, those times, and those tasks, and use them. And use them. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, with that, the tools and time, like it's what you're giving to someone to empower them, right? The
Hmm.
tools, you give them something that they can actually use,
Yes.
a resource that they can go back to, that made a lot of sense. You give them,
Mhm.
of course, you give them your time, and sometimes that's like one of the biggest treasures that you can give is your
Absolutely.
time. And then giving them a task like, okay, now I want you to actually go and do this. I think we practiced some of that before, when I kind of talked to you, like you was talking about like
Ag
thumbnails and stuff like
Again,
that for
workshopping,
YouTube.
sir. Yes, you
Yes,
workshop
yes.
me.
Like, so doing the workshop that we were doing with YouTube, I think one of the things I told you to practice was like, just go and turn on the camera and just practice like saying your name or just talking into the camera, like looking into the camera. That was
Mhm.
one thing I know I said. A lot of times, like if we're looking at our phones, like
Yes.
we're looking at the screen and not the
Mhm.
camera, not the lens. Like
Mhm.
right now I'm looking at right at the lens. So
Right.
that was one of the things, give them a task, like go home,
Mhm.
practice that. And so that's definitely important that you give them, those three things. You can definitely empower somebody with just that. So what is this event that we're looking at here on the screen? I don't know if we really went over it.
Yeah, so it was called Black Girl Boss Day, and it was hosted at one of the middle schools in the school district I currently work, and it was great. It was just last week, and the room had all of the African American female students there. I was asked to come, and I really wasn't sure what I wanted to present, even though I don't think I have a problem talking in front of people, but I get anxious sometimes about what I might say, and again, still that insecurity. Excuse me, I gotta get my cat Sebastian is over here messing with the light, so if you see it shaking a bit, he's trying to get he's trying to get onto the episode. But anyway, um, stop it, Sebastian, because that's real
Sebastian,
life right
he
there.
over there going, boy, them cats. Go get your cat. Go get your cat. Let's look at some of these pictures. So, girl boss.
Yes. And so
That's
this
right.
was on the table as a reminder for all of the young ladies there that what the topic was. And so we were talking about how we were considered bosses, right? Um, it's so funny because at my job, I don't consider myself a boss, even though I
Mhm.
supervise people. But some of my principals who I work with, if they'll introduce me to their tasks, they say, "Oh yeah, this is my boss lady," and I think it's so funny. I'm like, okay, and I still have some former teachers who if they see me, they're still teaching, but at different schools, they still call me like, "Hey, boss lady, how you doing?" And you know what I always think of? The Steve Harvey show
Boss lady. Yeah, that's right.
when she was principal.
Hmm.
They called her boss lady, and so
I
I
feel
think
like
it's
you. I feel like you capture her vibes. I feel like you definitely capture her vibes. Like you probably came. Like she would come to work stunting. Like she would have her outfits and dresses, everything. But she was so stern, like when she needed to be, but funny
my
and
gosh,
warm,
yes,
warm. All
yes,
of those things. That's you right there. The Steve Harvey Show.
yes, I
You could do the
did.
recasting when they bring it back. You could
I was
definitely do.
boss lady, huh?
That's you. That's a perfect caricature. That's a perfect like comparison. I think that you fit that for sure.
I was boss lady from the Steve Harvey show. Oh wow. but
So
but
girl
getting
boss. So I think like it's important. It's important. I think. Well, let's slow down, Chris.
yes.
For years and years and years, when you think about the boss,
Mhm.
you see like a man in suspenders and like a striped suit, and so like it's
The
important.
suspenders.
That's what I think of, like lawyer or like some dude
Uh-huh.
like on Wall Street. They always have
Mhm.
suspenders on. They always have those little like boss. Even if you like probably Googled it, I'm sure that's the image that you would see. And they're not gonna have this. They're gonna have something else. But so that's one of
Not
the things.
so much melanin.
So I love that this picture. You see this. It's a girl and she's a black woman. A black
Mhm.
girl, and so that's got to be important to empower
Mhm.
that demographic and that
Yes.
those people,
Mhm.
because that is not represented, and that's not, they don't have that representation.
Right.
Like lately, we have a lot of great examples of
Mhm.
girl bosses, if you will, or just
Mhm.
even just women that are taking the forefront, or they're they're
Yes.
they're taking the role of leader, of
Yes.
entrepreneur, of boss, right? And so that's another part of empowering others and
Mhm.
empowering those young girls that, hey, you don't have to be employee, or you don't necessarily have to just be underneath someone, but you can be a
Mhm.
girl boss.
Yes, and I reminded them that if there's not a seat at the table for you, create your own table.
That's right.
Create your own table. And I actually talked to them about how my initial career choice was in broadcast, been in education for over 2 decades, but now how I use the gifted table to bridge the two together.
That's right.
And that was important for me to share with them because just because right now you're saying, oh, I aspire to be a doctor, an engineer, an actress, whatever it was. They had so many different awesome careers that they were sharing that they wrote down they wanted to do. But just in case you don't do that and you end up doing something else, you can always bring them back together. Never lose that dream, never lose that drive, never lose that passion, and just keep persevering. And it was just so great to interact with them, and I was asking them questions, and we talked about just what is like, especially in education and the women of color and specifically African American women in different levels, from teachers, like 8% are teachers,
Mm,
less than 1% are superintendents, about 4%, and this is in the state of California, looking at some data from 1819, about 4% are administrators, right? Those are
mm,
very low percentages
yeah.
for those young ladies not to see themselves in a lot of their teachers, a lot of their administrators, their district administrators, superintendents. And it was funny, I did tell them, I said, even though we don't right now in 2023, that I was able to find any African American female county superintendents, one of my mentors, who's been on here before, you know her,
Come on
Dr.
with it.
Judy White.
That's right.
She was the first and so far the only African American woman to be county supervisor for Riverside County in California. And so I did show a clip of her and me for when we were talking about the third option and talked about colorism. So, and then we talked about colorism and what that means for women. And so it was just very, not only empowering for them, but it was empowering for me because just hearing from those young ladies it was awesome. It was
Oh
awesome.
man.
And to get their feedback.
And that's great. And they got a real good role model in you, showing them how it's done, and really just helping to guide them through that process of, discovering their dream and
Mhm.
going forth, and accomplishing it, and just showing them an example of like, look, this is what it looks like. You
Yeah.
can stand here, you can give this speech for those that might be anxious or nervous.
Mhm.
You can get it done, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think I had like a 30-minute time limit. I said, oh, okay, I think I'll probably talk for about 10, 15 minutes and, take a few questions. Yeah, I did the whole 30 by the time.
I thought you were gonna go somewhere else with that because I was about to say, a lot of times you'd be surprised at how much kids like students like want to ask questions or they want to talk. They,
Yeah,
like they want to pick your brain. And
yeah.
it's okay. She said, I'm finna give y'all this lecture. Listen, little ones.
No, it was interactive. I was asking them questions along the way. And
Got you.
so it actually went really well. But
Good.
I just want to remind all of our gifted family, gifted table family, to just know that empowering others starts with you first empowering yourself. You can't empower someone else if you haven't gained control of your own power. Power in your career, power within your family, power within your relationships, power with your finances, power with your faith, all of those things. You have to empower yourself and be true to you and continue to follow everything that you want to do, no matter the obstacle, no matter the adversity, no matter the timeline. If you still have the activities of your limbs, if you still have breath in your body, if you still have the capability to do so, just continue to do it. And having you here is just so great. So, Chris, I can't wait for them to see our next episodes with Vanessa Hunter. Are you muted, sir?
I think it's gonna be great. I think they're really going to enjoy it. It's one of those things, it's one of those things where we miss the mark sometimes because we're
Mhm.
not paying attention to it. We kind of just swallow our pride. We just keep it bottled inside, and we never release it. In terms of
Mm.
the problems that we might be feeling, or the anxieties that we have, or the feelings of inadequacy that we might have. That was a really big point that she touched on. I don't want to give all the
I
video
know,
away,
right? I know,
but
right?
man, you got to subscribe to the channel and make sure
Subscribe to
that
the
you,
channel, people.
man, hit the little bell, so that you get notified when the video comes up, because I think it's going to help a lot of people when we
Mm-hmm.
get to talking about it. And it's a topic that is being talked about a lot more now,
Mm,
with
absolutely.
mental health and actually like seeking out therapy and everything like that.
Yeah.
And so I think it's going to really empower some people to, work on themselves. Like, as you just said, empower yourself.
Empower yourself.
You can even do it through your mental health. The
Mm-hmm.
healthier you are, sometimes we miss out and we say, okay, I got to make sure I lose some weight. I got to make sure my body look. We only look at health as from one
Mm-hmm.
aspect or the other.
Physical. Yeah.
We got to,
Mm-hmm.
let's go back to ninth grade health class, the health triangle. It's all those
Mm-hmm.
things. It's your social, it's your
Mm-hmm.
physical, and it's your mental.
All of it.
Um, you want to think about your wellness in terms of all of the things, and not just one specific thing. And sometimes that could hurt the others. Like, if you're only focusing on your physical appearance,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to start to mess with your mental health. It's going to be
Right.
like, you have those syndromes where you look in the mirror and you have body dysmorphia. It doesn't look like how you think you want it to
Right.
look. You have
Mm-hmm.
those problems where you're looking in the magazines, you're looking on Instagram, social media, you don't look
Comparing
how
yourself.
you're comparing,
Oh.
right? So you don't feel like you look like how other people look. And so that begins to weigh in on you, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
got to really think about all those things. So I'm excited.
I am too. I am too.
I'm
Well, we're
excited.
going to go ahead and wrap this up, sir. I'm so
Okay.
glad you was on here. Always by my side, literally side by side on the screen.
Boom. It's wonderful. I always love, coming on here, hanging out with you, producing, the show, helping you out. And
Everything, man.
we got a lot of things to do. We got a lot more conversations to have.
Yes.
So this is
And
only the beginning.
somebody's trying to make an appearance.
Go ahead, let me put you up here. Here you go.
That's Sebastian. Say hi. He is up here. Oh my goodness. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here at the Gifted Table. Thank you. So happy to have you here. And don't forget to subscribe and share this video. Once it's done, you can go to the Gifted Table, go to our different tabs where it has live. You can see all of our previous live videos. Check out this video. And also check out our other topics under the video tab as well. And it's such a blessing to have you here. Stay tuned because there's so much more to come. Thank you so much for those of you who joined us online. Thank you for those who given us shout outs in the chat. Thank you, Dana Smith Lacey. Thank you, Jonathan Davis. Thank you, Stephen Pettis, for being here. And those of you who you probably didn't put in the chat, but you joined us, we so appreciate you. And until next time, remember, stay grounded, innovative, fierce, transparent every day. In other words, stay gifted. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.